Let's get things started. Episode 5, Right from the Ashes, Day 2, Trial Ladder. Load the selected save file, yes. February 23rd, 11:56 a.m. District Court, Defense Lobby number 2. Mr. Wright? What? Trials always like this with you? Like, you're swimming up on the bottom of a lake about to reach the surface, but no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there. Pretty much. Except today we're swimming in quicksand. So, what happened to your sister anyways? Apparently she got called off to the judge's chambers? Huh? Oh, probably something to do with that piece of cloth. So, this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny insignificant piece of cloth. I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell you the truth. Hola, partner. Hola, partner. They say you show a red cloth to a bull, it'd fire up its temper. That's what they told me, when I was a youngin' at least. I was a marshal! Thought I'd come take a look-see at how the trial was going. Looks like I'm late. They've gone home ranch locked down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. That's hard to slip out, huh? What's going on over there anyways? All the police I've seen these last few days have been really on edge. Didn't you get enough on your plate without worrying about other people's compadre? Let me actually turn the game down, because when I was listening to this the other day, the game audio was pretty loud compared to my voice. So hopefully that sounds better. You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example. Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing, didn't have anything to do with scarves. She wasn't wearing a scarf. You don't say. Now, don't that just beat all? I've seen the red breeze blow at her shoulder neck many a time. I saw it that day too. She was wearing a red muffler. What? At the awards ceremony that afternoon. Edward's seen it too, I reckon. What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Starr wasn't mistaken? Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns. And sometimes you gotta let the bull go where it will. Time will tell. I have a bad feeling about this. So, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright? If it's steak sauce, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. Ooh-wee! Unique character, this guy. Anyways, later that day at 12:32 p.m. at District Court Courtroom number 9. Oh, shoot, we're going straight back into the trial. I'd like to resume. What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution. Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue, your lips are purple, you're sweating bullets. That frowned brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are unfocused. You're doubled over, your back is bent. It can't be! This can't happen! I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth. Well then, I believe it is time we continue on with this trial. During our recess, I had requested that the prosecution conduct an investigation. This is unacceptable! It seems that prosecutor is quite beside himself. Excuse me. Knock knock. Who's there? Oh. Alright. What's with this guy? A strange stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Hey! The temperature rose 5.7 degrees when that man came in. Who on earth is he? I don't know, but his green eyes are, like, scaring me. Ah, it's you. So I'm late, Oogie. The roads were packed. It's just me. Long time no see, Oogie? How you been? Swim much these days? Hello. No, I've been busy. Busy smiling under you, my boy. You're having to make time to relax. Yes, indeed. Edgy seems to be a nickname for the judge. I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid. Sorry, but who are you? So you're a writer, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son. Thanks. So sorry about a little worthy giving you all the trouble, eh? You know, we should all go swimming together sometime, jolly! Little worthy? Mr. Wright, you don't know the district chief of police? Chief of police? He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district. I mean, to be fair, I don't know my... I don't know the guy in my district either, but whatever. But then again, I'm not a lawyer, so... name's Grant, Damon Grant. Pleased to meet you, everyone. So, to what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it? Well, it's Worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. So Miss Starr wasn't just seeing things. When the crime occurred, Miss Guy really was wearing that muffler. But to think that this was stuffed into that exhaust pipe. On little Worthy's car, no less. It's really quite embarrassing, even for us. Well, what's this? It's what you call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this. Chief! What kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth, how could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job? Now, wait a minute, Worthy. I've no desire to hear your excuses. I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me? Have a look at this document, where it says, person in charge of investigations. There's no mistaking that signature is there. Miles Edgeworth? That's not fair. On the day of the crime, I had... You're ahead in the clouds because you got an award. I know how you feel. But you're the person in charge. I expect a written apology. What? Are you serious? Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean this mess. This mess that you made? This is the first time I've seen Mr. Edwards at a loss for words. This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edwards. The court accepts this new evidence, but I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. Yes? Just to be sure. I'd like to take a look at this blade, at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it for me, I wonder? Yes, well, I think all you have to do is push that switch and... If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I won't be able to pound my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I won't be able to point at people anymore. Come on, just hurry up and open it. Okay, I'm not doing anything, and it's so slow! Why not just go the other way? SL62, or is it... No, that's right, SL62. Ah! Don't scare me like that! I'm the one who's scared. Look, the knife blade. The tip is broken off. And this dark red stain. Blood? I'm thinking it's rust. switchblade knife was added to the court record. Found at the crime scene, wrapped in the defendant muffler, with a small tag attached. This does not excuse the action of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself. I'm terribly sorry, but could I ask you to testify for us about the split between the prosecutor and the police and this knife? Sure thing, not a problem. Not even a little one, really. Department in disorder. This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department. See, what a mess. The time of the crime was 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. There was a murder at the police department. A detective? That's hush-hush information, LG. We haven't exactly announced it yet. Wait a second. You said 5:15. That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. Order! 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 Anyways, we at the department were all flustered, as you might as well assure. We're in the middle of a top-secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay? I think we understand the police department's situation. Well, Mr. Wright, 2 detectives killed at the same time in 2 different places. The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness. Very well. However, keep your questions focused on the case at hand. Department in disorder. This knife is special, but I can't say where. Excuse me. Special? Hard to come by this particular knife anywhere else. Might that special thing be this little tag? Ah, sorry, Righto, but I can't say that. No, not that. Well, we've established that the knife in Goodman's chest was this knife. Now, why was there another knife at the scene of the crime? That's quite a mystery. And like a mystery, it's wrapped in something, a muffler. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. This knife was found on the scene of the crime. I think that makes it connected to the case, don't you? See, there's a lot of things that go on in the department I can't explain. It's delicate, okay? Sorry, Righto. Maybe there's something about the knife that'll give us a clue. Let's examine the knife while we can, Righto. Evidence that links the knife to Detective Goodman. I think I have the pieces are falling into place. I should try presenting the piece of evidence that that had me stumped all this time. So, how are things down at the department? No, the bad news for a moment. We want any shape for investigation. Something happened at the police department too, huh? You got a good look on your eyes there, right on my boy. Sharp, hungry. So, something did happen. And why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you informed? Well, why didn't you ask? No matter, I understand. You were busy with Lana's case and all. Well, what happened? What happened at the police department that day? A detective was killed at the police department. What a mess. On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? That's a fact! Surprising, isn't it, Udgy? I'm at a loss for words. And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact. Just arrested? That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto? I suppose I could help. You help me by giving me data on your case. Oh, good one! This kid's sharp! Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only. Where the victim was found, how the victim was killed, when the victim died. We know when the victim died. We know where they were found. They were found at the police department. They died at 5:15. How was the victim killed? Well, how was the detective killed? How was he killed? Now that's the interesting part. It was what we in the force call a stabbing with a knife. A knife. That's exactly the same as Detective Goodman. That's the spirit we're cooking now, but you know, that's not the only thing that was exactly the same. What do you mean? There were more similarities between the two cases than the cause of death. Seems like I'm gonna have to press this a bit harder. Time of the crime was 5:15. 5:15? But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office. What? Funny, isn't it? A murder at the prosecutor's place and a murder at the place at and a murder at our place at the very same time. What are the chances? Coincidence? This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there's a 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Grant, please tell us more about the incident. It's not officially linked to this case, so I can't talk about it. How can you say that there is no connection? How? Because I'm the chief of police. I can't just say anything I please, Righto, you understand. Try to understand, Righto. Well, if you can prove to the connection, more power to you. Maybe there's something that ties the two murders together. Whatever it is, I better find it and get to the bottom of this. 2 detectives killed at 5:15, one at the prosecutor's office, one at the police department. That can't be a coincidence. And that knife? What was it doing there? I better check that knife out. Oh, shoot, wait. Why did I do that? Because if I do that, I can go to the court records without trying to present something. There's a small tag on the knife. It says SL-92? What's that supposed to mean? I'm not sure, but it reminds me of a similar code. DL6, maybe? It's a case number? That's weird. What? I don't remember where, but I think I've seen something like this before. Something similar to what's written on this tag. It wasn't that long ago either. Maybe I should check the court records again. Okay, so it's not the note. At least I don't think it is. Yeah, that's all the names, it's mostly Von Karma. Do I have you? Single stab room was found. Loss of blood. Full on 5:30. February 21st. Goodman. No. SL92. I'm thinking it's this paper, because upside down, it would be S... Yeah, it would be SL9, we just don't have the 2. Okay. Again, I hate to save scum, but I want to be safe than sorry. Also, I just want to check out the things real quick. Yep. Wait a second! Ah, at last, an honest-to-goodness objection! This knife. This has to do something with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? And honest to goodness, what do you mean, Mamaji? This is great! Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL9-2. And this is important. Why? Over here we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim. February 21st. Ah. What's this? 6 minus 7s 12 2? Your Honor, it's upside down. Upside. The printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get? Aha! Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down. SL9. That's the same thing that's written on the knife tag. Order! Order! Well, Chief. Well. I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, Righto! I win? What game is this guy playing? The knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. That was a bad day for the... Wait. So this knife was stolen? Yes, but on the other day of the murder. It was evidence, you say. Was it, in fact, a motor weapon? Nice, nice, nice! Good show, little worthy! It was a motor weapon, as it happened. It was evidence from a case long since solved. So this knife was stolen on the day of the murder. And it was found in the exhaust pipe of Edwards' car. Hard to think there isn't a connection there. Another bad day for the department. We want a ship to do an investigation. The detective was killed. What a mess. Time of the crime, 5:15. Let me try this. Same day, same parking lot. Where is the victim found? Where the victim died? Oh, when? We know when, because he says 5:15. Where was the body found? Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room of the police department. The evidence room? Wait a second! I've heard of that. The evidence room? Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now? The knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department evidence room. There's a connection between the two cases. You seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? We just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case! Once the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details. I'm pretty sure I show off the knife since we now know that it was evidence. Nope, of course. We just... Oh my god. It's like the annoying thing. It's like they just talked about the fact that... because it can get annoying at times. Like, do I take the first one? Like, it feels like I should have another, whatchamacallit, another blah 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 statement, because he's like, okay, now we got something. Let me ask the last question, even though he goes right into it. So, when did the murder at the police department occur? Very sharp. Well, my boy, you're gonna love this. Yeah, and it goes straight into this question. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, yes, yes. So, do I show the knife on the first one, then? Or do I just press the first one again? Ay, 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 ay. So this knife was stolen, found on the day of the murder. It was evidence, you say, was it in fact a murder weapon? Nice, nice. How do things is not a connection? Chief, the defense position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. God dang, I had to press the last one. You don't say. Well, that was it, Righto. What's your connection? Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. The connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number on the knife. The case number on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed at the very same... It was killed in that very same evidence room. Indeed, there do seem to be many connections for it to be a coincidence. You two make a good pair! It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced. Right here! Chief, I request that you release your information on the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet and all. Can we get the information? Unofficially? Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all. What? Really? Who would have guessed? I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department, okay? If you're gonna tell us a little, why not tell us everything? Ah, well, case information is sticky stuff. You'll have to do everything properly. Oh, well, guess I might as well try to get out what I can out of him. The victim's ID number. How will you tell us the victim's ID number? Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it is from that. Of course not. You won't tell me their name after all. We keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't get your hopes up. The number is... 584-2189. 584-2189. Well, that's quite long. And we have to remember that it drives me nuts. I can't do it. You didn't even get the first number right. Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything? The ID number of the victim at the police department, 584. This tells me something. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think. Meaning... it has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean? Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department. Tells you something. What does it tell you? Witness. What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night. No, it's just I got confused. And this is news? Huh? Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do. The police department, the prosecutor's office, 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here. Oh, is it yours? No, Your Honor. I'm a defense attorney, remember? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman. Shame on you, Wright. Personal IDs are top secret. Detective Goodman's ID number is 5842189. And this means what exactly? Huh? Wait, that ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started was 82... I've forgotten. Didn't even get the first number right again! The number the chief of police gave us was 5842189. Wait a second, Wright. What does this mean? That's what I want to know. The 2 ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that? Sharp as a tack, Righto! Sharp as a tack! But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim! He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. Yet, a Detective Bruce Goodman was also killed at the police department, in the evidence room at the exact same time! That's impossible. So what you're saying is, the same person was killed at the same time, and in completely different locations? Order! 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 Chief, what is the meaning of it? No. What I want to know is why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of this case. Now just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered. Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait. I said wait. Or didn't you hear me? The oversight, the grave error, Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours. What? How? How dare? We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Menkins who brought you the news. Officer Menkins? Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Oh, wait. Aha! Excuse me, but is Mr. Edwards, anywhere in the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got a report, sir. You didn't... You don't mean... him? According to Minkins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me, he said the report had nothing to do with Lana Sky's incident. Detective Bruce Goodman murdered in the police department's evidence room. Mr. Edwards, the victim's name is written right on top of the report. Why didn't your officer tell me? Honestly, I'm not sure if the officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged. In any case, this is a serious error, a gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy. But, sir, you could have submitted this report this morning to the court as evidence. Then I... No such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say, unworthy. What?! Now, what's the second rule of evidence law? Well, Mr. Wright? Huh? Oh, well, it's... Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And how is this rule relevant? Normally you submit a list of evidence to be used in a court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list. So, what does this mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Wright over here. Good job, Wright, my boy! Huh? I was just doing my job. No! No! I'm gonna lose my voice at this rate. It seems we have come to an end of this trial. I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy, with all those rumors. You were even in the defendant's chair just this past December. I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part. Mr. Edgeworth, please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened, if it's the last thing I do. You better get results this time. Really. You have my profound apologies, sir. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one further day, as the prosecution has requested. Will this be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Whatever your punishment for this is, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. Very well. Court is adjourned. Well, Lana Sky's still fine, but we somehow have one guy murdered at 2 locations at the same time. I'm calling it now. He was killed in the evidence room, stuffed into Edwards' car. Edwards drove back to the prosecution area, where Lana Sky eventually found the body. Now, why did she apparently attack somebody is the main question. I'm assuming it's probably something to do to save her younger sister, and the person who was stabbed wasn't actually stabbed. Would I like to save? Yes.